Killer. Hello my friends, Dr. Berg here. I want to share something very powerful with you today. Something that can help you when most people think about food that repairs the brain. They don't realize how powerful something as simple as a walnut can be. The walnut is unique in its structure and in its nutrient composition. And there's an old saying in natural medicine that the way a food looks often gives you a clue as to what it helps in the body. If you take a walnut and split it open, it looks strikingly similar to the human brain with two hemispheres and folds. That resemblance is more than just coincidence. It's a reminder that walnuts carry compounds that are designed to nourish and restore brain function. The brain is made largely of fat, and the most important type of fat for brain health is omega-3 fatty acids. Walnuts are one of the richest plant sources of these omega-3s, specifically alpha-linolenic acid. Without adequate omega-3s, your brain cells cannot repair their membranes, and your neurons cannot communicate efficiently. Imagine every single thought, every single memory, every emotion relying on those membranes working properly. If the structure is weak, signals are slower, memory gets duller, and overall performance declines. The timing of when you eat walnuts is just as important as eating them in the first place. At night, while you sleep, the brain enters a phase of repair and detoxification. This is when damaged proteins are cleared away, new synaptic connections are strengthened, and the brain literally resets for the next day. But this repair process requires raw materials, and omega-3 fatty acids are some of the most critical. If your body doesn't have enough available, your brain can't rebuild properly, leaving you with mental fog, poor focus, or even memory lapses when you wake up. This is where walnuts step in. By eating them in the evening, you provide your brain with a steady supply of these essential fats, ensuring that while you rest, your neurons are rebuilding stronger than before. Another nutrient in walnuts that deserves attention is vitamin E. This fat-soluble antioxidant is like a shield against oxidative stress, one of the biggest threats to brain health. Every day, your brain is bombarded by free radicals created through metabolism, stress, toxins, and even poor diet. Over time, these free radicals chip away at the delicate structure of neurons, leading to premature aging and damage. Vitamin E neutralizes those free radicals, protecting your brain from deterioration. And here's the hook. Studies have shown that people who consume higher levels of vitamin E through foods like walnuts have a lower risk of developing age-related cognitive decline. It's not about supplements, it's about food sources that the body can actually use effectively. Now, let's consider something fascinating: the relationship between walnuts and sleep. Most people don't realize that walnuts are a natural source of melatonin, the hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycle. Poor sleep is one of the fastest ways to damage memory, mood, and focus. If you're tossing and turning at night, your brain isn't getting the chance to repair itself. By including walnuts in your evening routine, you not only provide the brain with omega-3s and antioxidants, but you also support deeper, more restorative sleep through natural melatonin. That's a double benefit, fueling both the repair process and the sleep cycle that drives it. But let's make this practical. Imagine two different people going to bed at night. One eats processed snacks, chips, cookies, or something sugary. The other eats a handful of walnuts. The person eating processed food spikes their blood sugar, creates inflammation, and stresses the body during the exact window when repair should be happening. They wake up groggy, unfocused, and may even feel older than they are. The person who eats walnuts, on the other hand, has supplied the brain with the exact nutrients it needs to rebuild. They wake up with sharper memory, clearer focus, and more energy. Over weeks and months, the difference becomes dramatic. It's not just about one night. It's about consistent habits shaping the future of your brain health. There's another layer to walnuts that people often miss: their impact on neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to form new connections and adapt. This is what allows you to learn new skills, recover from mistakes, or even rewire harmful patterns. Omega-3 fatty acids, especially from walnuts, enhance this ability by supporting the fluidity of cell membranes. A rigid, unhealthy brain cell cannot easily form new pathways. A nourished, the flexible brain cell can adapt and grow. This means walnuts are not just preventing damage, they're actively enhancing your ability to learn, to remember, and to grow mentally, even as you age. And let's talk about blood flow. Walnuts contain compounds called polyphenols, which help reduce inflammation in blood vessels. Better blood flow to the brain means better delivery of oxygen and nutrients. Think of your brain like a high-performance engine. Without proper fuel and oxygen, it sputters and struggles. With improved circulation, it runs smoothly, efficiently, and powerfully. Eating walnuts consistently supports this circulation, giving your brain the environment it needs to thrive. Now here's something even more powerful to consider. Chronic conditions like dementia and Alzheimer's don't just appear overnight. They're the result of years of cumulative damage from oxidative stress, poor diet, inflammation, and nutrient deficiencies. By the time symptoms show up, the damage is significant. But introducing foods like walnuts early and consistently can slow or even counteract some of that damage. Walnuts are not a magic pill, but they are a powerful piece of the prevention puzzle. The earlier you start giving your brain what it needs, the stronger and healthier it will remain as you age. The simplicity of this cannot be overstated. You don't need a complicated plan, expensive supplements, or exotic treatments. Something as basic as a handful of walnuts before bed is enough to set the stage for long-term brain repair and memory preservation. It's often the simplest solutions that people overlook, yet they are the ones that produce the most powerful results. Your brain is your most valuable organ, and the investment you make into its health pays you back in every aspect of your life, from your relationships to your productivity to your overall happiness. So the next time you reach for a late night snack, ask yourself, am I fueling repair or am I fueling decline? A small handful of walnuts could mean the difference between waking up foggy or waking up clear, between losing memory or preserving it, between premature aging or sustained vitality. Walnuts are nature's way of giving you a tool to protect and enhance your brain, and when eaten at the right time, before sleep, they align perfectly with the body's natural rhythm of repair. When we start talking about protecting the eyes and improving memory naturally, one of the most underrated foods that comes to mind is the almond. People often think of almonds as just a crunchy snack, but in reality, they are like nature's supplement, rich in nutrients that directly impact your vision, your nervous system, and your ability to remember and process information. It's fascinating how a small handful of almonds can influence two of the most vital aspects of your health, your eyesight, and your brain function. And what makes almonds even more interesting is how they work while you sleep, setting the stage for your body to repair, restore, and lock in new memories. Almonds are one of the richest natural sources of vitamin E, and this single nutrient is absolutely crucial for protecting your eyes. Your eyes are exposed to constant stress, blue light from screens, UV rays from the sun, oxidative stress from everyday metabolism. Over time, this oxidative stress damages the retina and the macula, which are critical structures for sharp, detailed vision. If those tissues start to break down, you begin to lose clarity and may even face age-related conditions like macular degeneration. Vitamin E acts as a shield. It neutralizes the free radicals that would otherwise damage these delicate tissues. Studies have shown that individuals who consume higher amounts of vitamin E from food sources like almonds have a significantly lower risk of developing age-related vision loss. So when you eat almonds, you're not just enjoying a snack, you're literally feeding your eyes the protection they need to maintain sharpness over time. Now let's connect almonds to memory. Your brain relies heavily on antioxidants as well, and vitamin E has been shown to play a key role in preventing cognitive decline. Oxidative stress doesn't only attack the eyes, it also attacks the neurons in your brain. These neurons are responsible for transmitting signals, forming memories, and processing information. When oxidative damage accumulates, neurons begin to weaken, which translates into memory lapses, slower thinking, or difficulty focusing. Vitamin E, by protecting these cells, helps maintain sharper memory and clearer thinking. There's a reason why some researchers even call vitamin E the brain's anti-aging nutrient. But almonds don't stop at vitamin E. They are also rich in magnesium, and this mineral is one of the most overlooked yet essential nutrients for both brain function and sleep. Magnesium plays a critical role in calming the nervous system. It regulates neurotransmitters, helps muscles relax, and promotes deeper, more restorative sleep. And here's where it gets exciting. Your brain doesn't just rest during sleep. It actually works harder in certain ways. Sleep is the time when short-term memories from the day are processed and stored into long-term memory. This process, called memory consolidation, is the reason why a good night's sleep makes you feel sharp, while a poor night's sleep leaves you forgetful. Without adequate magnesium, your nervous system is overstimulated, and you can't fall into those deeper stages of sleep that are necessary for memory repair. By consuming almonds in the evening, you give your body the magnesium it needs to relax and support this memory consolidation process. Think about this in practical terms. Imagine you spend the day learning new information, meeting people, or working on important tasks. If your sleep is shallow and fragmented, much of that information doesn't get stored properly in your long-term memory. It's almost like writing notes on a chalkboard and then erasing them overnight. But if you've supplied your body with the magnesium and vitamin E from almonds, you're supporting deeper sleep and protecting your neurons. Now, instead of losing that information, your brain files it away like a well-organized library. You wake up not only more refreshed, but also with sharper recall. Another fascinating aspect of almonds is how they balance blood sugar. High spikes and crashes in blood sugar during the night can interrupt your sleep cycle and damage both your brain and your eyes. The healthy fats and fiber in almonds slow down the release of glucose into the bloodstream, keeping your blood sugar levels more stable. This stability is important because erratic blood sugar feeds oxidative stress, accelerates aging, and interferes with the deep sleep stages necessary for brain repair. A small handful of almonds before bed not only provides nutrients, but also helps create the metabolic environment your brain needs to repair itself effectively. There's also the mind-body connection to consider. Stress is one of the greatest enemies of memory and vision. Chronic stress floods the body with cortisol, a hormone that over time can damage brain structures like the hippocampus, which is directly responsible for memory. It can also raise blood pressure and reduce circulation to the tiny vessels that feed your eyes. Almonds, rich in magnesium, help buffer the body's response to stress by calming the nervous system and lowering cortisol levels. Imagine going to bed tense, your mind racing, unable to shut off. And now compare that to going to bed after a handful of almonds, with magnesium easing your nervous system into a calmer state, preparing you for restorative sleep. Which scenario is going to leave you with sharper vision and memory in the morning? The answer is obvious, and here's another hook that most people don't know. Almonds also contain riboflavin and L-carnitine, nutrients that support brain activity and reduce inflammation in the nervous system. Carnitine helps transport fatty acids into the mitochondria, the energy factories of your cells, making your neurons more efficient at producing energy. This means your brain cells can fire more effectively, your focus improves, and your ability to process information sharpens. Over time, these small benefits add up to noticeable improvements in cognitive performance. Now, let's connect all of this to the big picture. Eye problems and memory decline don't just happen suddenly. They accumulate over years of poor habits, nutrient deficiencies, and stress. By integrating almonds into your evening routine, you're not just eating a snack. You're creating a nightly ritual that supports your nervous system, enhances your sleep, protects your eyes, and sharpens your memory. It's not about overnight miracles, but about building a strong foundation so that 5, 10, or 20 years from now, your vision is clearer and your mind is sharper than most people your age. The beauty of almonds is their simplicity. You don't need a complicated formula, you don't need expensive treatments, and you don't need to rely on synthetic supplements that your body may or may not absorb. Almonds give you vitamin E, magnesium, healthy fats, antioxidants, and brain-supporting compounds all in one package, delivered exactly as nature intended. This is real functional nutrition, using whole foods to target the exact systems in the body that need support. So every time you pick up an almond, think about what it's doing inside your body. Picture it as fuel for your nervous system, as protection for your eyes, as a calming agent for your sleep, and as a building block for your memory. It's a small act with enormous consequences. The people who make this a consistent habit are the ones who age gracefully, with eyes that still see clearly and minds that still think sharply. When you think about raisins, most people only see them as a sweet, dried fruit that you might sprinkle on oatmeal or find in a trail mix. But the truth is, raisins are far more powerful than they appear. These little gems carry a unique blend of antioxidants, minerals, and natural compounds that specifically target the health of your brain and your eyes. And one of the most overlooked benefits of raisins is their ability to improve oxygen delivery to the brain, which is absolutely essential for memory, focus, and overall cognitive performance. What makes this even more fascinating is how these benefits become amplified when you consume raisins in the evening, allowing your body to use them during the repair cycles of sleep. Your brain is the most oxygen-hungry organ in your body, consuming about 20% of the oxygen you breathe, even though it only makes up about 2% of your body weight. Every thought, every memory, every single signal transmitted in your nervous system relies on oxygen. If that supply is even slightly compromised, you feel it immediately. Brain fog, fatigue, poor concentration, or even memory lapses. Raisins are packed with natural iron, and iron is the mineral that enables your blood to carry oxygen to your cells through hemoglobin. Without enough iron, your red blood cells cannot deliver oxygen efficiently, and the brain begins to struggle. Eating raisins in the evening ensures that your red blood cells are better equipped to supply oxygen while you sleep, fueling the brain's nightly repair and memory consolidation processes. But it's not just about oxygen. Raisins are loaded with polyphenols, which are plant-based antioxidants that directly reduce oxidative stress in your brain and eyes. Oxidative stress is one of the primary drivers of aging in both of these organs. In the eyes, oxidative stress damages the lens and the retina, leading to cloudiness, blurred vision, or even conditions like cataracts and macular degeneration. In the brain, it damages the delicate structure of neurons, leading to slower processing, reduced memory retention, and eventually age-related cognitive decline. The polyphenols in raisins neutralize these free radicals, shielding your neurons and your eye tissues from ongoing damage. Think of them as tiny bodyguards protecting your most valuable assets, your vision and your memory. Here's where it gets even more interesting. At night, while you're sleeping, the brain goes into detox mode. It clears out toxins and waste products through a system known as the glymphatic system. For this process to work effectively, the brain needs both adequate oxygen and antioxidants. Oxygen fuels the metabolic cleanup, while antioxidants prevent further damage during the process. By eating raisins, you're giving your brain the exact tools it needs to perform this nightly cleansing. Imagine your brain waking up lighter, sharper, and freer of toxins. This is what consistent nighttime nourishment with raisins can do over time. There's also the blood-sugar connection. People often worry about raisins being too sweet, but when consumed in moderation, raisins actually help stabilize blood sugar levels. They contain a unique combination of natural sugars and fiber that provide steady energy without the spikes and crashes of processed sweets. This stability is incredibly important for your brain and eyes. Blood sugar spikes increase oxidative stress, inflame blood vessels, and damage the tiny capillaries that feed your retina and brain tissue. On the other hand, stable blood sugar ensures consistent energy and oxygen delivery throughout the night. A small handful of raisins before bed won't overload your system, but will instead create balance, giving your brain just the right amount of steady fuel. Another overlooked benefit of raisins is their boron content. Boron is a trace mineral that plays a surprising role in brain function. Research has linked boron deficiency to impaired memory, reduced attention, and slower cognitive performance. Raisins are one of the richest natural sources of boron, and when you include them in your diet, and you're supporting the very systems that regulate memory and learning. This is one of those hidden benefits most people never hear about, yet it could be the missing link for someone struggling with focus or forgetfulness. Let's bring this into a real-world example. Think about two people going to bed. One eats a bowl of ice cream, the other eats a small handful of raisins. The ice cream may taste good in the moment, but it spikes blood sugar, increases inflammation, and reduces oxygen delivery because the body has to work overtime to manage the excess sugar. That person wakes up sluggish with foggy thinking and possibly irritated eyes. The person who eats raisins, however, has supplied the body with antioxidants, iron for oxygen transport, and trace minerals like boron. Their brain has a clean fuel source, their blood sugar remains stable, and their neurons are protected. They wake up clearer, sharper, and more focused. That small choice the night before becomes the difference between decline and repair. The raisins also play a role in circulation. They contain compounds that help relax blood vessels, improving blood flow. Better circulation means not just more oxygen to the brain, but also more nutrients delivered to the retina and other delicate tissues. If you've ever experienced tired, strained eyes after a long day of screen use, it's partly due to poor circulation and oxidative stress. By supporting circulation with something as simple as raisins, you allow your eyes to recover more fully overnight. Another fascinating hook is how raisins impact inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is at the root of so many problems: memory decline, vision loss, even neurodegenerative diseases. The antioxidants in raisins actively reduce markers of inflammation, creating an internal environment that favors healing rather than damage. So while you're sleeping, instead of your body fighting against inflammation, it can redirect energy toward repair and regeneration. One more point that people overlook: your brain doesn't just need oxygen, it needs energy. Glucose is the brain's preferred fuel source, but it must be delivered in a steady, controlled way. Raisins provide this exact form of energy. Their natural sugars are packaged with fiber and antioxidants, which slow the release into your bloodstream. This means your brain has just enough fuel to power through the night's repair cycles without overwhelming the system. That's the difference between waking up refreshed or waking up drained. Raisins might look simple, but they are a powerful synergy of nutrients designed to work with your body's natural rhythms. By delivering iron for oxygen, polyphenols for antioxidant defense, boron for memory, and fiber for stable blood sugar, they create the perfect environment for your brain and eyes to repair overnight. Every small handful is like an investment in your future clarity, your future vision, and your future memory. When you lay down at night and drift into sleep, it may feel like your body is shutting down, but in reality, it is entering one of the most active and powerful phases of healing and regeneration. What happens during sleep is nothing short of extraordinary. Your brain, your eyes, and your entire nervous system go through a process of cleaning, repairing, and rewiring. This is why people who consistently get high-quality sleep often look younger, think sharper, and have stronger memory compared to those who struggle with restless nights. The body is designed with a built-in repair window, and that window is the nighttime cycle of deep, restorative sleep. Yet, many people either neglect this process or fail to give their body the raw materials it needs to make the most out of this repair phase. The brain in particular goes into overdrive while you sleep. There's a system known as the glymphatic system, and its job is to wash away toxins, damaged proteins, and metabolic waste that have accumulated throughout the day. One of the most harmful of these waste products is beta amyloid, the same protein linked to memory loss and conditions like Alzheimer's disease. During deep sleep, the brain essentially opens the floodgates and flushes these toxins out. This process doesn't happen efficiently while you're awake. It is primarily activated at night. That means every night of missed sleep or poor quality sleep allows more and more toxins to accumulate, creating an environment that accelerates brain aging. On the flip side, when you nourish your body with the right nutrients before sleep and enter those deeper stages of rest, your brain is literally detoxifying and rebuilding itself. Your eyes are also highly active in their repair cycle at night. The retina, which captures light and sends signals to the brain, is one of the most metabolically active tissues in the body. It burns through nutrients and oxygen at a rapid rate during the day, especially in today's world of constant screen exposure. At night, the eyes depend on antioxidants like vitamin E, carotenoids, and polyphenols to neutralize oxidative stress and repair damaged cells. This is why people who eat nutrient-rich foods that support eye health often report less strain, sharper vision, and slower progression of age-related eye conditions. Sleep isn't just about resting your eyes, it's about giving them the environment to repair the damage from constant daily exposure. Memory and learning also hinge on what happens during this nighttime repair window. There are different stages of sleep, and each stage plays a role in consolidating information. During slow-wave sleep, the brain strengthens connections between neurons, turning short-term information into long-term memory. During REM sleep, the brain integrates these memories, making connections and forming patterns that help you understand and retain knowledge. If you cut your sleep short or fail to reach these stages, you're not just tired the next day. You're missing out on the biological process of memory formation. This is why people who study all night but don't sleep often forget much of what they learned. Without sleep, the brain can't store it. But with proper rest, the brain organizes and locks in new information, making recall much easier the next day. Nutrition plays a critical role in how effective this repair cycle is. Imagine trying to rebuild a house without bricks, wood, or tools. It's impossible. The body works the same way. If your diet is missing key nutrients, your repair cycles are incomplete. For example, omega-3 fatty acids fuel brain cell membrane repair, vitamin E protects neurons and retinal tissue, magnesium calms the nervous system for deeper sleep, and iron ensures adequate oxygen delivery to the brain. Without these raw materials, your body is forced to cut corners in its repair process, and over time, that shows up as memory decline, poor focus, weakened vision, or accelerated aging. On the other hand, if you provide these nutrients, say through foods like walnuts, almonds, and raisins, you're giving your body exactly what it needs to maximize its nighttime repair potential. Here's something most people never think about. Poor sleep doesn't just mean tiredness. It directly accelerates aging. When the body doesn't enter restorative sleep, stress hormones like cortisol remain elevated. A high cortisol over time damages brain cells, breaks down collagen in your skin, raises blood pressure, and interferes with blood sugar regulation. It becomes a vicious cycle where poor sleep leads to poor health, which leads to even worse sleep. But when you align your diet and lifestyle to support restorative rest, you break that cycle and allow the body's natural repair systems to dominate. That's when you start to see improvements not only in how you feel, but in how you look and how sharp your mind becomes. Another fascinating aspect of nighttime repair is hormone balance. Growth hormone, often referred to as the anti-aging hormone, is released in its highest amounts during deep sleep. The growth hormone is responsible for repairing tissues, regenerating cells, and even burning fat. If you skip deep sleep, you rob your body of this essential hormone. Similarly, melatonin, the hormone that regulates your sleep cycle, also acts as a potent antioxidant, protecting both the eyes and the brain from damage. By supporting your body's natural rhythms, going to bed at a consistent time, eating nutrient-rich foods before sleep, and avoiding stimulants, you enhance these hormonal benefits and supercharge your body's repair process. Let's consider a real-life scenario. Imagine two people of the same age, same job, and same daily routine. One consistently goes to bed late, eats processed foods, and struggles with restless sleep. The other makes sleep a priority, avoids late-night stimulants, and includes nutrient-dense foods that support brain and eye health. After a few weeks, the differences are noticeable. The first person begins to forget small details, feels sluggish in the morning, and notices more eye strain after working on the computer. The second person wakes up refreshed, remembers conversations and tasks easily, and experiences less fatigue. After a few years, the gap widens dramatically. One is battling accelerated aging, while the other maintains sharp vision and memory. That difference is the power of making use of the body's repair window. One of the most engaging hooks here is that your future health is literally determined by what happens while you sleep tonight. It's not just the hours you're awake and active that shape your health. It's the hours of rest when your body is repairing itself that matter just as much, if not more. If you neglect this window, you pay the price in accelerated decline. If you honor it and give your body the tools it needs, you gain years of clarity, energy, and vitality. The best part, you don't need expensive treatments or complicated routines. You just need consistent, high-quality sleep supported by the right nutrition. So every time you prepare for bed, remember that you're entering the most important repair cycle of the day. This is your opportunity to restore your brain, protect your vision, and lock in your memory. By nourishing yourself before sleep and creating the right environment, you allow your body to do exactly what it was designed to do: heal, repair, and regenerate. When we think about nutrition, most people consider single foods in isolation. An almond for vitamin E, a walnut for omega-3, or a raisin for antioxidants. But the body doesn't work in isolation. It thrives on synergy, where multiple nutrients interact in ways that enhance their effectiveness. This is where the power of combining certain dry fruits before bed truly shines. Instead of viewing each food as a separate tool, think of them as instruments in an orchestra. Alone, they can make pleasant sounds, but together they create a symphony of healing, particularly for the eyes and the brain. Walnuts, almonds, and raisins each have unique nutrient profiles, but when combined, their benefits multiply and complement one another in remarkable ways. especially during sleep when repair and memory consolidation occur. Let's start with walnuts. These little brain-shaped nuts contain alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. While the body's conversion of ALA to DHA is limited, even small amounts help maintain brain membrane flexibility and reduce inflammation. Walnuts also provide polyphenols that scavenge free radicals, preventing oxidative damage to neurons. Now, consider that neurons are highly dependent on stable membranes and efficient communication between synapses. When walnuts support the integrity of these membranes, your brain essentially has a smoother surface to conduct signals across. But the question becomes, what happens when you add almonds into the mix? Almonds are loaded with vitamin E, a fat-soluble antioxidant that directly protects cell membranes, including those in the retina and brain. Here's the interesting hook. Omega-3 fatty acids like those in walnuts are prone to oxidation. They can become unstable if not protected by antioxidants. This is where almonds step in. Their vitamin E protects the delicate omega-3 fatty acids in walnuts, ensuring they do their job without breaking down prematurely. So rather than thinking of walnuts and almonds separately, think of them as a tag team. One provides the raw structural components for brain health, while the other shields those components from damage. This synergy allows your brain to maximize its healing during sleep, rather than spending valuable resources repairing oxidative damage. Now, let's bring raisins into the picture. Raisins are high in polyphenols, particularly resveratrol-like compounds and natural iron. The brain is an oxygen-hungry organ. Without sufficient iron, red blood cells can't carry enough oxygen, and brain function slows dramatically. But here's the fascinating part: omega-3s from walnuts and vitamin E from almonds help maintain healthy blood vessels, allowing better blood flow. Pair that with the iron from raisins, which boosts oxygen transport, and suddenly you're improving not only the supply of nutrients, but also the delivery system itself. Your brain and eyes don't just need fuel, they need a pipeline that can efficiently deliver that fuel right where it's needed most. This trio builds the pipeline, fuels the supply, and protects the system all at once. Another important interaction occurs at the mitochondrial level. The mitochondria are your cellular power plants, and they require steady protection from oxidative stress. Walnuts help regulate mitochondrial biogenesis, almonds supply antioxidants to shield mitochondrial membranes, and raisins provide the glucose and polyphenols that mitochondria use to generate ATP efficiently. During sleep, when the brain is detoxifying and consolidating memories, mitochondria are especially active. The combined nutrients act as co-pilots, ensuring your brain cells have the energy to store information effectively, while also cleaning out harmful byproducts. Without this synergy, your brain may operate in survival mode, focusing on repair rather than growth. With it, you shift into optimization mode, where your memory, clarity, and focus are enhanced. Think about your vision as well. The retina is one of the most metabolically active tissues in the body, meaning it requires a constant supply of nutrients and oxygen. The walnuts reduce inflammation in the tiny capillaries of the eye. Almonds protect the retinal cells from oxidative light damage. And raisins improve the oxygen delivery required for retinal metabolism. By combining these foods, you're giving your eyes the structural support, the protective barrier, and the oxygen delivery system they need, all while you sleep. And because vision and brain function are intimately connected through the optic nerve, this synergy extends from the eyes directly into the brain's processing centers. One of the most overlooked aspects of nutrition is timing. At night, the glymphatic system in the brain kicks into high gear, flushing out toxins like beta amyloid, which is linked to memory decline. This detox system functions best during deep sleep, but it needs the right building blocks to repair cells and the right antioxidants to neutralize free radicals. Eating a small handful of walnuts, almonds, and raisins before bed doesn't overload your system. It supplies just enough nutrients for this nocturnal repair crew to work at full efficiency. The result? You wake up with clearer focus, sharper memory, and healthier vision over time. The psychological element is worth noting too. Many people think they need complicated supplements or medications to protect their brain and eyes. Yet here's the hook: sometimes the most profound solutions come from simple, natural combinations that have been available for centuries. Cultures around the world have used dry fruits as staples for energy, vitality, and longevity. Modern science is only now confirming what tradition has always known, that the real power lies not just in single nutrients, but in the way whole foods interact with each other. Imagine this scenario. You sit down in the evening with a small bowl containing a few walnuts, a few almonds, and a small cluster of raisins. You're not eating a heavy snack, you're not spiking your blood sugar, and you're not consuming empty calories. Instead, you're engaging in a ritual that fuels your brain and eyes while you sleep. This consistency, night after night, creates compounding benefits. Just like saving money in a bank account grows interest over time, saving your neurons from damage every night builds a reserve of cognitive resilience and sharper vision. The beauty of this combination is that it requires no complex preparation, no expensive supplements, and no extreme changes to your lifestyle. Yet the results can be transformative. People often underestimate the power of small, consistent habits, but science shows that even minor shifts in nutrient intake can create significant long-term benefits. By combining walnuts, almonds, and raisins, you're stacking the odds in your favor. Each dry fruit brings a unique strength to the table, and together they form a team that not only repairs but enhances. And the most fascinating part, this repair process happens quietly while you sleep, requiring no conscious effort from you, yet delivering noticeable improvements in memory, clarity, and vision over time. When it comes to improving brain and eye health, most people are looking for quick fixes or miracle solutions. But the truth is that transformation rarely comes from extremes. The body is wired to respond to small, consistent actions far more effectively than to occasional bursts of intensity. This is where the principle of consuming modest amounts of walnuts, almonds, and raisins regularly, especially before bed, becomes powerful. You don't need large handfuls, you don't need to overindulge, and you certainly don't need to complicate the process. In fact, the very secret to activating repair and boosting performance while you sleep lies in moderation and consistency. A small portion taken daily can completely shift how your brain consolidates memory and how your eyes regenerate at night. Here's the hook: most people underestimate the power of micro habits. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't spend hours on it, you simply do it twice a day for a few minutes, and over the years, it prevents major problems. The same principle applies here. A small serving of these dry fruits, maybe a few pieces each, doesn't feel like much in the moment, but when repeated daily, the impact compounds. Over weeks, months, and years, your body gets a steady stream of omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, vitamin E, magnesium, and iron that quietly repair damage, protect neurons, and preserve sharpness of vision. Instead of casing big, dramatic changes, you're investing in the kind of subtle but profound shift that leaves you healthier in the long run. Let's break down why small amounts are more effective than large ones. Walnuts are nutrient-dense and provide omega-3 fats that support neuronal membranes. But in excess, they can be heavy on digestion and even irritate the gut. Almonds deliver vitamin E and magnesium, but overeating them can overload your calorie intake without offering additional benefit. Raisins provide natural glucose and iron, yet in excess, they could spike blood sugar for some individuals. The body doesn't respond better to more. It responds better to balance. A modest handful ensures that you receive the benefits without tipping the scale into stress. This balance is crucial at night, because your body wants just enough fuel to repair, not so much that it's busy digesting while you're trying to rest. There's also something fascinating about rhythm. Your body runs on cycles, circadian rhythms, hormonal rhythms, even cellular repair rhythms. Consistency teaches your body to expect and use nutrients at the right time. If you supply walnuts, almonds, and raisins before bed every evening, your system adapts to utilize those nutrients during the night's repair window. Over time, this creates efficiency. The brain learns to use omega-3 fats to reinforce synaptic membranes, vitamin E to neutralize free radicals, magnesium to calm overactive neurons, and iron to enhance oxygen delivery. Each night becomes another opportunity for your brain and eyes to repair just a little more, and those little increments build up to significant results. Here's another hook. Imagine your health like a savings account. If you deposit a small amount of money daily, it might not seem impressive at first, but compound interest makes it grow exponentially. That's exactly how these dry fruits work. A few pieces each night are like tiny deposits of protection and repair. You may not notice a dramatic difference in one night, but after months, you suddenly realize you're remembering names more easily, your focus is sharper, and your eyes don't feel as strained at the end of the day. The results sneak up on you, not because of a dramatic overhaul, but because of consistent investment. The psychology of this approach is just as important as the biology. People fail on health journeys because they try to do too much too quickly. They take on restrictive diets, complex supplement stacks, or rigid routines they can't sustain. But when the habit is small and enjoyable, like eating a few walnuts, almonds, and raisins, it doesn't feel like a burden. It becomes sustainable. And sustainability is the ultimate secret to lasting change. The more effortless a habit feels, the more likely you are to continue it for years. And it's not about perfection. Even if you miss a night, the consistency over time is what matters. That's how you transform your brain and vision naturally, without stress or force. Now think about what happens while you sleep. This is when memory consolidation occurs, when the glymphatic system flushes out toxins, and when your eyes repair from the oxidative stress of daily light exposure. The nutrients you provide in the evening directly fuel these processes. Walnuts supply omega-3s that integrate into neuronal membranes, almonds protect those membranes from oxidative stress, and raisins deliver iron that ensures oxygen flow to tissues. If you consume just enough before bed, the body can focus entirely on repair rather than digestion. It's a quiet but powerful process. You lie down, fall asleep, and while you rest, your body transforms those tiny nutrients into big protective outcomes. It's worth noting that consistency also rewires behavior at a neurological level. Every time you repeat a healthy action, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with it. Over time, it no longer feels like a conscious choice, it becomes automatic. Imagine reaching for a small handful of these dry fruits each evening, not because you're forcing yourself to, but because it has become part of who you are. That identity shift, seeing yourself as someone who fuels their body before sleep, carries far greater long-term benefits than any temporary diet ever could. Another fascinating angle is how small, consistent habits influence aging. Most age-related decline in memory and vision isn't the result of sudden damage. It's the accumulation of tiny injuries over decades, oxidative stress, nutrient deficiencies, poor circulation. By introducing a consistent, protective habit, you chip away at that decline night after night. You prevent some of those micro-injuries from occurring in the first place. The difference between someone who ages with sharpness and clarity versus someone who declines rapidly often comes down to these seemingly small, invisible daily choices. And that's why a small serving of walnuts, almonds, and raisins can be a game changer. It addresses the daily wear and tear before it builds into something noticeable. Here's the final hook to drive it home. You don't need to wait years to see results. People who begin adding these dry fruits consistently often notice within weeks that their sleep feels deeper. Their focus improves in the morning, and their eyes feel less fatigued at night. These are early signals that the repair systems are working more efficiently. And the longer you stick with it, the stronger those results become. The key isn't to overwhelm your body, but to give it steady, reliable fuel to do what it was designed to do: heal, protect, and optimize its